How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to do a little hardware video. I haven't done one in a little while. I've been mostly making like gaming videos and so forth, and I'm sorry I haven't been around for like a week, but I've had problems with my computer and had to work those out, and it's just been kind of a lousy week with the election happened, whatever. So I've been tired and haven't really been screwing with things, but kind of back in the saddle here. So today we're going to be looking at this Sabrent Rocket Q NVMe. This is a 1 terabyte drive, M.2 form factor, and this is a 3250 megabytes per second read rate, 2000 write rate. So give me a second here and we'll get this out of the box and we'll have a look at it. If you haven't already done so, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Thanks. It's a trick. Now there's two of them. Holy shit. Maybe this is some kind of a joke video or something like that. Maybe I should be a stand-up comedian or something, right? Hold on a second. Oh shit, now there's four of them. There must be a reason for that. Maybe we're going to put them in RAID or something. Yeah, that's probably it. So some of you may remember I've got my MSI TRX40 motherboard for my Threadripper, and this is an add-on card that came with it, and all this is for installing NVMe drives, and it has 4 slots for those. Seems like a coincidence that we got 4 drives. And what I'm going to try to do, this thing won't stand up on here, it doesn't balance worth a shit, but like I say, you got one little PCI Express power connector on here, 6-pin, and you just take off this front plate by removing what I can say probably just these 4 screws in the back. Easily remove that, take off the front plate, install your drives, and then put it back on. But this keeps your drives nice and cool, and it looks just like a video card except for there's no I/O, there's no display port or anything. But I'm gonna go ahead and try running 4 Sabrent NVMe drives in a RAID 0 configuration, which should produce us right around a 13,000 megabytes per second read rate, which should be interesting. So let's see if that works. Stick around. Alright, so if you can see what we're driving at here, basically, it looks like it's got like little thermal sensors or something in here, which is a little bit strange. I didn't expect to see something like that in there. I've never had that before, but I imagine that gives you temperature readings for each drive that you're going to lay on it. But you're going to connect your drives through here. I might have to move these, because I think these drives are going to end at this point, so I have to probably physically move these, but we'll find out in a second. And then you peel off this, and then there's like this gray thermal interface material underneath each of these that helps it conduct the heat away through the large GPU-like heatsink that we're using here. And I didn't pull it. You see there's a fan, the fan's connected here, so be careful when you open it back up so you don't pull on this and damage any wires or inadvertently disconnect your fan and have to reconnect it, because sometimes those things can be pretty easily damaged. It's just like a GPU fan. It's basically what it is very similar to like a small, like an ITX GPU or something like that. And other things we have on here, this lets you hook up to the case, and this lets you hook to the motherboard, but I think it's so like you can daisy chain a line in and then a line out like from your case, and then a line from here to your motherboard if you want to have like the little hard drive indicator lights flickering on your PC case. You're able to hook it up through that and it'll work that way. But next up is going to be unboxing all 4 of these bad boys and getting them connected up. But like I said, I think I'm going to have to you know, like I say, realign those to here before I can physically install this. So give me 1 second here and we'll get one of those out of the box and we'll verify the length of it. That's interesting that they got these thermal sensors. I don't know if that's going to be a good idea or not, because NVMe drives can get pretty warm, and it's kind of like, yeah, it's cool if you can read the temperatures, but at the same time, do you want these things melting against the drive? Hopefully they thought of that. But give me a second here. I will go ahead and open up one of these drives. We'll have a look at it, see what comes in the box, that sort of thing. It's kind of like opening a pack of cards, but they made it difficult to open. But it comes in like a little metal case of its own, which is kind of cool, I guess. And you open that up, and we've got our little installation guide or warranty kind of information, that sort of thing. And they've got a little cover plate over this, and then the drive itself, which, as we said, is a 1 terabyte drive. And we've got 4 of these bad boys. But as I mentioned, concerning the length of this drive, it's going to stop at that point. So if I'd like to screw that into place, I need to remove all of these and move them to these points. They do that. They make that pretty easily on these, as I recall. And then once those are aligned, because there's different lengths of NVMe drives available. I don't know why they would have these out here, because I've never seen one longer than this, but whatever, maybe there is. And anyways, I'll get all those done. I'll get all these installed. We'll put it back together, get it in the system, and see just how fast this thing is. But like I say, the combined speed in RAID 0, which is basically just combines the bandwidth of all the drives, should give us, like I say, a read rate of like 13,500 megabytes per second, which should be really stupid fast for loading things. Although, if any of you have watched Linus Tech Tips' most recent video, like comparing NVMe drives to standard SSDs, like the load time is not really noticeable between the two. I'm kind of going to use this to run, like load my deepfakes off of, and see if it helps increase, or like decrease rather, the load times for loading up all the images, because I mean it's a lot of images to load them into memory, and so I don't know how much of a difference this will make, but we'll do some benchmarks like Crystal Disk to see how fast it is once we get it installed. So give me 1 minute here. I'm going to get these like I say, these little posts moved so these can be mounted properly. I'll get all 4 drives in there. We'll see how it goes. Well, you know, this is going to be an episode of do as I say and not as I do, because physically removing those by hand seems to be basically impossible. They are really, really in there. And, you know, I don't want to risk damaging anything, especially as close as it is to this wire here, like trying to twist that or something with like a pair of pliers. I don't want to grind the frickin' thread off of something. So it's not that big of a deal. I think these will be secured well enough. You figure, like I say, I'm going to put a drive in here, and I'm going to pretend to put a drive in here. And once these are all pushed down, and then this is flipped up over on top of it, they should stay in place. It's just annoying that they've done it this way. They should have supplied some kind of a tool to remove these safely. I don't have anything that I could think of, like a tiny pair of sweet lip pliers. It sounds like what you would need. Like, just if I can zoom in on this for you guys a little bit and show you a little bit better. But you see what I'm saying? Like, you know, they're really, really on there. I mean, I've given it a pretty good twist. I don't think I have totally weak fingers, but I can't get any of them to really budge. And I mean, I can look at it from the bottom. It looks like they should come out of there without that much trouble, but they're just really, really, really screwed into place. Like I say, I don't have any way to get that out of there, short of, like I say, using like a regular pair of pliers. Oops, sorry for bumping the camera. And I don't really want to, like I say, you'd grind these ridges off the outside of it and look like ass, and you know, it might be harder to get in and out of there in the future. So I don't really think I want to screw with that. I think I'm just going to try putting all the drives in as is, and we'll see if this can be used like this. It'll be a little complicated, but I've done it like this before on motherboards, where I just put down like the heatsink on top of it, and it's fine if I don't feel like trying to screw with, like I say, retracting mounting hardware like this. Still think this is a bad design choice. So that's sort of going to be one of these things where this hopefully won't be a mega bitch about going on here. Let's see. It's kind of in place. And just kind of hold it together, give it a flip. And they're not ultra well aligned, but they're pretty close. And they seem to be fairly good there. Just try to put these screws back into place. And we should be, hopefully, able to test this thing out. Like I say, I'm sorry that this isn't perhaps the way it should be in terms of installing this correctly, but again, it's like they give me no way to get those stupid mounting hardware screws out of there, so I gotta improvise just a little bit. Shit happens, eh? Tighten these down a little bit. I'll finish them when I'm done. I just don't want this moving around too much. Alright. We'll see what happens with this bad boy. I'm pretty interested to see how fast it can go. Hopefully these drives don't overheat or do anything crazy. I'm just a little bit concerned with like the RAID drivers, like setting up a four-way. I don't think I've ever done a four-way RAID. I've done like two-way NVMe RAID, but four is probably pushing my luck just a little bit, and we'll have to see what happens. I know that enabling it in the BIOS is going to be, I don't know, their BIOS is kind of questionable, so I'll try to figure it out, and then I'll probably show you guys like whatever settings need to be used once I get that squared away on the PC itself, and then we'll see if we can get anywhere with it. But I mean, it looks like they're in there okay. Like you can kind of see inside. Maybe, hold on, let me see if I can better focus the camera here. I think it looks pretty straight in there. I don't see where any of like the thermal pads got like misaligned or anything. Everything looks like it got lined up just like you'd want it to. So like I say, not exactly correct, you know, using their provided mounting hardware, but it does look like it'll work. So cool beans. Let's get this thing installed and see if it works. Pain in the ass. This is a bad angle to work at, so I apologize, but whatever. It's in there now. And then this is needing a 6-pin PCI Express power connection. So we're going to try to get that bad boy in there. I'm just running it off one of the GPU lines. Hopefully it won't be a problem of amperage being shared or anything being fucked up, but that ought to work. Let's power her up and see what she does, and hopefully this isn't going to be some kind of ridiculous, difficult, all day long type thing. Be right back. Well, I loaded up the BIOS, and you can read it's reading all 4 Sabrent Rocket Qs, so that's a good sign. Next up, I got to figure out how to enable RAID, which I know how to turn RAID mode on, but you can say the question is then how to tell it to use those specific drives for a RAID array, and then you know, have it all kind of properly align itself. So see what happens. Alright, this was getting pretty complicated on me, guys, but I figured out, I think, how to do it. So first of all, you go into Advanced Settings, Integrated Peripherals, and you change the SATA mode to RAID mode. Then you go back into Advanced, Windows OS configuration, and change it. Like if you had it on CSM, you have to change it to UEFI. Once you do that, you reboot the PC. God dang, this fucking thing will not focus. Focus. I don't know why it's doing this. I'm sorry. Okay, there you go. Anyways, if you had it on CSM, which I normally do, then you change it to UEFI, then you reboot the PC, come back into the BIOS, and in my case, because I'm using this expander card, this is what was taking me a while to figure out, and I believe I've got it now. You go, damn it, I'm probably going to take a minute. Let me find this real quick. Okay, so again, under Advanced, you go to PCI Subsystems, and you check your, in my case, I've got this in the 3rd PCI Express slot, and so you can change the way that the lanes are distributed on that slot. So if you have it on auto or 16, it'll just do like it normally does and run it at 16x, but it'll only run one of the drives. That's why I was sitting there for like an hour trying to figure out why my RAID utility could only see one of those 4 Sabrent drives. If you change it to 4x4x4, that allocates out. It even says like right here on the side, this is for using the MSI M.2 expander Z, which is what they call that card. So you enable that mode. You reboot the PC one more time, and then you come back out, go into your RAID to Expert Configuration Utility, look at your physical disk management, and select physical disk operations, And you can see in your physical disks, see before I was only getting this one. Now I've got NVMe Jet, all these 1 terabyte drives that I guarantee you are all my Sabrent drives. Up here, this is my OS drive, and then I've got a second one. This is my Pioneer. This is my Crucial, or I might have that backwards. I forget which is which, but whatever. But these are the Sabrent drives, and it was picking up like my SATA drive in there too. I actually unplugged that to see if it would help, but then I figured out how to allocate these lanes. So those are the steps to allocate the lanes to the expansion card to give each of the 4 M.2 drives 4 PCI Express lanes, so they have enough bandwidth to do their job. So give me a second here, and I'm going to create this RAID array. Alright, so we're going to select physical disk operations. We're going to select the disk we want. So I've already enabled that first one because I had that popping up before. I'm going to select my next one on the list. I'm going to say I want to initialize that disk, and again tell it to enable. Say yes. Say yes again. The reason it asks you to confirm a bunch of times is because anything that might have been on that drive, if you had something on it previously, will get wiped off of it when you initialize it for RAID. So make sure to select the right drive. If you don't, you're going to lose anything that might have been on it. So if you're using, again, I have other drives in the PC that have files on them. I'd just as soon not lose those. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the rest of these drives, and we should be able to make our RAID array. Alright, I'm on the create RAID array, or create array section now of the array management. We're going to tell it we want to make a RAID 0, because select my physical disks, which I've already initialized the 4 Sabrent drives. Let's tell it enable any of these. And again, like I say, a lot of these, like it asking you to verify, is because it's like you screw up, you delete shit. Okay. Well, that's the correct amount of space, about 4 terabytes of RAID. Well, I think it should have done it, so it's pretty quick actually. Array management, manage array properties, and it says 3.9 terabytes normal space, so it should be theoretically working. I know that there's some drivers that I have to install when I get into Windows, so that'll be my next thing. When I get into Windows, I'll show you guys how to, I gotta go back over the instructions, but I've downloaded the drivers for it already. But to get it to work in Windows, there's some additional steps, and once you do that, it should be pretty damn speedy. So let's see how that works out here in just a minute. Be right back. Alright, you can see in Windows, it says RAID controller. Under other devices, it had that, and it had this other one here, both in there with question marks on them as RAID controllers that it didn't have drivers for. Now, I've already downloaded the drivers, so I have this folder here. Again, I got this from the MSI website, from the TRX40 driver section on their creator board on their site, but you just get it from your manufacturer. Although, again, never mind that. I think it's the only board that comes with this expansion card. So, anyways, you download those drivers, and when you tell it to update the driver, you tell it to go navigate and look in that folder wherever it is that you've saved it, and it will automatically install the driver for you. And it says it's successfully updated the driver, and then it's going to ask me if I'd like to reboot my PC, which I must apparently do. So let's do that. Alright, if the camera defocuses, I can't do anything about it. I don't know why it's doing this. Anyways, AMD's software would not finish installing. It keeps getting to 99%. And then it sits there forever. I tried to use their RAID driver installer from the thumb drive that came with the motherboard, like I mentioned, and it won't do it. So instead, I went into the disk manager utility in Windows, which keeps defocusing, and I initialized, what the hell? It had all the drives that were already initialized, but they were not given drive letters. So I deleted all the volumes and set them back to basically an uninitialized state. And then I right-clicked on the first drive, telling it to create a new simple volume. Well, it tells you can create a new stripe if you want. So basically, I'm making a RAID array using the Windows built-in utility instead of using the AMD RAID Expert, because their software is trash. It won't even detect these drives. I don't know. It looks like a child wrote that software. Like, not that I'm an expert on. I don't write software to speak of, but for crying out loud, it looks like a kid wrote it. Like, the GUI is horrible. So anyways, it's formatting right now. You can see it's at like 34%, 38%, something like that. I don't know if you can see it or not, because it keeps doing this defocusing with my camera, so I apologize for that. Even though I turned off autofocus, it's still trying to autofocus. So anyways, when this finishes here, it should assign drive letter Z is what I told it to do, and we should then be able to test the capabilities of our striped 4 NVMe drives. So give me one moment here, and then we'll see if this worked. Alright, after much bullshitting around, we finally got that formatted out. We've got our Z drive, as you can see, about 4 terabytes, and we're going to give it a test run here and see how fast it can burn through some of these benchmarks. Let's see what you do. Alright, as I projected, the read rate is 13,479 megabytes per second, which is basically 13,500 like I thought it would be. The write rate is actually slightly lower than it should have been, because you figure if each drive is 2,000 times 4, it should have been 8,000, but it's really close, and I'm not going to bitch about that. Read rate is more important for loading things, you know, games or whatever the hell anyway. Like, we need this shit. Like, you take a regular solid-state drive is 500 to 550 megabytes per second, so this is only slightly faster than that. Alright, well, it's doing pretty much what I thought it would do. If you guys have any questions or comments about how I did this, please let me know in the comments section below. If you have a request to see like how quickly I can load something off of this, or like a specific benchmark that would test this better than just Crystal Disk that you'd like me to run, then please let me know. If it's something free or easy to download or whatever, you know, I'd be glad to test things that people want to see on this setup. So if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. Please give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll try to do more content here pretty soon. I'm gonna see how quick I can load up some you know, deep fakes off of this and see how fast I can start training them. I don't know how much of a difference it makes for read rate to load those up into memory, but it might expedite things a little bit. So thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you guys again real soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.